I was 8 years old the first time I realized my own mother saw me as a paycheck. Not a daughter, a paycheck. And when a teacher finally noticed the bruises I couldn't hide and the clothes that didn't fit, my mother didn't apologize. She punished me for it. So I did the only thing an 8-year-old with no power and no voice could do. I got even. My way, Dot. If you've ever been made to feel small by someone who was supposed to protect you, if you know what it's like to finally get a taste of justice after years of being invisible, stay with me. This story is going to make you furious, and then it's going to make you feel something even better. Hit subscribe, drop a like, and let's get into it. Picture a small house that always smelled like her hairspray and nail polish remover. Sharp, chemical, expensive. That's the first thing I remember about my mother. Not her voice, not her face. The smell of money spent on herself. I was born with a disability. I won't go into the specifics, but it meant the state sent a monthly check meant to cover things I needed. Therapies, clothes, shoes that actually fit, the basics other kids took for granted. That money had my name on it. It was supposed to be mine. It never was. My mother took one look at that check every month and saw an allowance. Fresh manicures, new highlights. Take out 3 times a week, for everyone except me, some nights. Meanwhile, I wore the same pair of shoes for 2 years, the sole flapping open like a mouth every time I walked. My siblings got new backpacks every September. I got hand-me-downs that weren't even mine to begin with. Someone else's old clothes, stretched and stained, in a size that fit me 18 months ago. I used to sit in class and tug my sleeves down over my wrists because the shirt was too small and it embarrassed me. I used to hope nobody would look too closely at my hair, which hadn't seen a brush in what felt like weeks. 8 years old, and I already understood shame. That's not something a kid should know yet. Conflict escalation. My teacher noticed. Teachers always do, if they're paying attention. And mine was. She started keeping me back a few minutes after class, gently asking questions. Are you eating breakfast at home? Does someone help you get ready in the morning? Small questions, careful ones. And one day, I just told her everything. The way my mother spent money that was supposed to be mine. The way my siblings had things I didn't. The way I felt like I didn't matter in my own house. I remember her face. She didn't look at me with pity. She looked at me with something closer to anger, but not at me. For me. The next day, I walked into class and there was a bag waiting at my desk. Brand new sneakers, still creased from the box. A soft sweater that actually fit across my shoulders. My teacher's daughter ran a children's clothing charity, and that morning, I became the reason it existed. She even sat me down and brushed my hair herself, gentle, patient, like it was the easiest thing in the world to care for a child. For the first time in longer than I could remember, I felt like a person. Not a burden, not a mistake, a kid. That feeling lasted exactly as long as it took to walk through my front door. Turning point. My mother's eyes locked onto the new shoes before she even said hello. Her face twisted, not with relief that her daughter finally had something decent to wear, but with something uglier. Suspicion, resentment. Where did you get those? I told her. My teacher, the charity. I even smiled a little, because some stupid, hopeful part of me thought she might be happy. She wasn't. So now your teacher thinks she's better than me? She snapped. Thinks she can just buy my kid things, make me look bad? I stood there in my new sweater, confused, because none of this was about her. It was never about her. But somehow, in her mind, my teacher's kindness was a personal attack, an accusation aimed at her, and I was the evidence. She grounded me. Banned me from the family trip we'd been planning for weeks, all because someone had finally treated me the way I should have been treated all along, and she couldn't stand what that said about her. I sat on my bed that night, still wearing clothes that actually fit for the first time in months, and I cried the kind of angry crying where your whole chest shakes. I wasn't just sad, I was furious. I understood, in the blunt, simple way kids understand things, that this wasn't fair. She had the money. She had always had the money. She just didn't want to spend it on me. I wanted her to feel, even for a moment, a fraction of what I felt every single day. Small, disrespected, powerless to stop something disgusting from happening to what belonged to you. I won't pretend what I did next was some genius master plan. I was 8. I didn't have access to lawyers or child protective services or the language to explain what was happening to me in a way adults would immediately act on. What I had was my body, my anger, and one favorite t-shirt of hers hanging in the bathroom. It was petty. It was gross. I'm not going to dress it up as something noble. It was the only form of protest available to a powerless kid. I took her pillowcases and worked them against my sweaty skin until the smell soaked in. Later, sick with diarrhea, I reached for that same beloved t-shirt instead of toilet paper. Then I put everything back exactly where I found it, and I waited. It didn't take long. I heard her before I saw her. A strangled gagging sound from the bathroom, followed by her voice, high and disgusted, asking nobody in particular why her shirt smelled like something had died in it. Then came the bedroom, and the pillow, and another wave of horrified noise. I lay in my room, listening to my mother spiral into confusion and disgust over something she couldn't explain, and for the first time in weeks, I smiled. Not because I'd solved anything, not because the money came back, or the neglect stopped, or she suddenly became the mother I needed. None of that happened. But for one evening, she felt a small piece of the discomfort and violation I lived with every day. And that was enough. It was the only justice an 8-year-old with no other options could reach for. Looking back at 16 years old, now 24, I don't glorify what I did. It was a child's desperate, imperfect response to a situation no child should have been in. The real justice wasn't the shirt or the pillowcase. It was my teacher, noticing, believing me, doing something. That's the part of this story that actually matters. That sometimes the person who saves you isn't the one who's supposed to. If this story hit you somewhere, if you've ever had a teacher, a neighbor, a stranger step in when the people who should have protected you didn't, tell us about them in the comments. And if you want more stories like this, hit subscribe. We'll see you in the next one.